Well, good morning and welcome once again to Ed's Orchids. Nice sunny day today, but cold, only about 12 degrees outside, but nice and warm in here. Now we've got a load of frags here that I'm going to cover today, so we're going to have a look at the buds, see what's flowering, see what's in bud, see what's in bloom, and have a look, see what the growth's like. Well, we'll start off looking at this Phragmipedium grande. It's a cross between cordatum and longifolium, and it's doing very nice. Got two nice flowers on there, a nice bud there to come, and there'll be another bud over there. So that's doing very nicely. Quite easy to grow these, like all Phragmipediums, they're all quite easy. In fact, I think they're one of the easiest orchids to grow. I know they're a darn sight easier than Phalaenopsis. Anyhow, we'll just have a look at this this grande. I've got two of these in blood. Now this one is a 7 growth plant. If I get down, you can see all the new growths coming up there. All nice leaves. No marks on the leaves, no brown tips on the edges, all looking very nicely. No new growth around here, just an old growth. This looked like it was going to try to flower but didn't manage it, and that's the one that will die off. So that's the first of the Phragmipedium grandes. Here's another one. This is a 5 growth plant and exactly the same. Another bud to come out there, and not as many growths in the bottom on this one, but two very nice ones there and one there, and a big one round the side here, which will be the next year's flowering. There we are. These are very easy, as I say. You know, they get watered. Well, I've had them on the drip system for about 5 or 6 months, and now I've taken it off with the weather getting much colder. The water will be far too cold coming in from the tap in the house, going underground in the garden and coming out here, especially when it's freezing, it will be too cold. So I've taken them off the drip now, and now I'm watering them 3, maybe 4 times a week with water around about 14-15 degrees centigrade, and they're doing very nicely on them. Only fed twice a year, in May and November, with a teaspoonful of fish blood and bone as usual, like all my frags are. So that's the second Phragmipedium grande. Now there's not much to say about this one, because this is a grande crossed back to a cordatum. So I'm expecting this to be a little bit greener than the other flowers, and have much longer blooms hanging down the sepals. So that's the grande crossed cordatum. This is one I've shown before. This is the richterii. It's a species plant, and a very big plant, this one. I'm surprised it hasn't got more than 1 spike on it, but it definitely will do next year. I don't know how many growths there are on here, but there's quite a lot. Ooh, turn it round, have a look. You see all these new growths coming out here. Lovely. Just treated the same as the others, plenty of water, and fed twice a year. That's all we do with them. They're not, I don't think they're heavy feeders, these, but a lot of growers think that Phragmipediums are very heavy feeders, and I know one guy who feeds them at 1,000 parts per million. Gets beautiful flowers on them, but the plants don't look as nice as mine. Now these are all ready for watering when I finished this filming, and they just get flush with our raw water. And this, as you can see, has got 2 nice growths coming up here on the Andean fire. This has been split many times, and I've sold many divisions off this, and we still have it in bloom, which is very nice, and another little bud coming out at the back there. So that's Phragmipedium Andean fire. It's cross, it's a Kavakii cross. And that's what it's cross with. Linleana or some, I've forgotten. Anyhow, somebody will tell me. That's Phragmipedium Andean fire. This one is the Phragmipedium Garam weaver. It's looking quite good. It's not flowered this year. Last year it flowered, I think it was in November, December. Had 3 beautiful blooms on it. Absolutely gorgeous they are. And this is growing very well. It's got a bit of a straddly leaf growing here, a lot longer than the others. I don't know where that's come from, but that's the Garam weaver, exactly the same. A few nice growths on it for flowering next year, so that's doing okay. Now the next one I can show you is this Phragmipedium Inzworthii. This hasn't come into flower yet this year. I passed one of these on to Jeff at Orchids at what is it, 35 degrees or 53 degrees north, something like that. I do forget. And he's flowered, but this hasn't flowered yet. But got plenty of nice growth in, making a nice big plant, and that is Phragmipedium Inzworthii. Well, I'm going to break off for a while showing you the plants, and I'm just going to flush these through with oil water, and we'll test the water to begin with, and we'll test the water after we've flushed it through to see how much the TDS has gone up. Right, we'll start off with the richterii. I don't think I've got enough RO water here. I'll let it all run through. Do water the grandes. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I tested these RO water and it was at nil. I'm always missing things out. That's one. Just get in the way of the camera now, pick the other one up. And then we'll do this one. Don't forget, if you've got frags and you're watering them, don't have the water too warm, because frags always like the roots to be cool. So that's one thing you must do with frags, always keep the roots cool. Well, we'll just have a look what the runoff water's like in the TDS. It was nil in there, and in there it's, swirl it round a bit. It's just 10 TDS reading. So it just shows you how much I do feed them. Very little. Well, this water's only 10 TDS, so we'll use it again and do it in the opposite direction to see what happens. See how much it goes up again. That's the Garam weaver. And this one is the Inzworthii. Well, I've just done those I've just shown you again, and it's now at, I don't know whether you can see that or not, 14 TDS. Now this one is the Phragmipedium warszewiczianum, or sometimes people call them the warszewiczianum. And I've had this about a couple, maybe 3 years as a smallish plant, and this is the first time it's coming into bloom. As you can see, there's one or two brown tips on the leaves here, and one or two's been cut off. It was like that when I got it, so we'll just have a closer look at this plant. I found this plant quite difficult. You can see there's two growths there, but one of them has rotted, and they're not even touching the medium. So I'll have to put a little bit more medium there to make sure they touch. This has been on the drip, and it looks like it's sending a second spike up here. There we are. Two leaves coming up at the same time. That's always a good sign that it's spiking. But look at the length of this. The buds are fattening up a bit, but not a lot. A bit of white there, but I don't know what it is. Well, it's definitely not a bug. Now these, when they flower, the sepals, I will have to stand the pot on top of another pot, because the sepals are so long, they will go right down and keep going down and down until they touch something, and then they'll stop growing. And they do that because when it touches something and they stop growing, it allows the pollinators to crawl up and pollinate the plant. Clever, isn't it, nature? Now this is one of those plants where the label faded, and I can't even read what it is, so I've no idea what it is, but it's been difficult to grow, this one, but it's just coming to now. You can see there's a nice new growth coming up there, but problems with the leaves I've had, you know, and I've never overfed it, but the new growth is different altogether, as you can tell. Absolutely lovely, nice leaves on it and everything. So I don't know what that is until it blooms, and I don't think it's going to bloom this year. In fact, I'm sure it's not going to bloom this year. I'll have to wait till next year to see what happens with this one. See, there's no growth coming up there in the middle. So that's well, it's a noid frag. Now this is one that I've never shown you in bloom before. This is a Phragmipedium Las Verenas, and you can see it's got some lovely growths on there. Some more there. Doing very, very nicely. Nice new growth there, which is a lot taller. Some nice growth round the back, and look at this spike. And it's got a bloom on top. This is a cross between the Cavacii and the Sargentianum. Looks more like a Sargentianum than a Cavacii, but it's got the Cavacii colour. Still going. There we are. Nice big plant too. And more buds on the back up there. That's Phragmipedium Las Verenas. Now here we have another division of Phragmipedium Las Verenas, and that's coming into spike. You can see there. You see it comes up with two leaves and then it starts showing the bud. But this is just a one growth, but another tiny little growth coming up there. So this is doing fine. Now when I'm showing you these plants, I'm watering them afterwards, so we'll not go all through the watering process again. So that's another division of the Las Verenas. And here's another one that's doing very, very nicely. I'm very pleased with this one. This is Ruby Slippers, and I think it's 3 or 4 growths on it now. Doing very well. This is the cross between let me think, Caudatum and Bessi. So let's just have a look, see what the growths are like. Anything underneath? No, what you see is what you get on this one. but nice new leaves coming up there in the centre on all three growths. So I'm quite happy with that one. Phragmipedium Ruby Slippers. Now this one, this Robert Yanqueni, was another of the victims of taking it indoors, and it didn't do very well, and it's just coming to now. There's no new growth on it. Oh yeah, there's one there, and it's spiking. So it's either spiking because it was dying, or it's spiking because it's that time of year, but nothing's come out yet on it. And the beautiful flowers, these. This is a cross between Fritz Schomberg and Bessie. Well, Fritz Schomberg is Bessie cross Kavakii, back to Bessie for this one. Makes a much smaller plant. In fact, I have a Fritz Schomberg, and I'll show you next to it. This is the Fritz Schomberg, growing very, very well, and I just noticed yesterday that this one is also sending up a spike. So I'm very pleased with that one. I always like these Kavakii hybrids when they grow. They're not all nice, but a few of them are exceptional. This is it's a multi-growth plant, as you can see. I've never taken any cuttings off it, and I don't intend to do so. I'm just going to let this grow, and hopefully that bud will develop nicely, and I'll show you some beautiful flowers off this one. Phragmipedium Fritz Schomberg. And there again is the plant when it's crossed back to Bessie. This is a Phragmipedium Olaf Gruss. Absolutely beautiful little plant this is. The blooms are beautiful and they can be a different colour to each other for some reason. I don't know why, but I had one flowered years ago, and one was more yellow and the other one was more red. So there might have been a bit of flavour in it somewhere, but lovely plants and growing very nicely. Phragmipedium Olaf Gruss. Well, along here we have a lot of small plants for growing up. The one at the back there is a little Garam weaver. They're all little, just larger than seedlings. What else have we here? Phaphipedlums, Phragmipedium, another Garam weaver there. An Olaf Gruss, just tiny plants there. The Kavakii, which you've seen. The Humilia Arias in the Lacusa pot, hoping that does well. Seedling at the back there. So we've got a few going on. And there's a few more Phragmipediums up here, you know, Cyrilla, Alka, and things, an whole mixture of stuff. Anyhow, that's about a lot for now. I thank you very much for watching. I'll carry on with the watering. Thank you to all my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed, I would much appreciate it if you did so. It does help the channel, and until next time, we'll have a look at the Las Verenas. There we are. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.